Reason for a call. A child is having trouble breathing. Child 3 years old. Caller. Mother. 2 a.m. The call came through on tablet, and right away you might start going through every possible situation. Something stuck in the airway, the allergic reaction, asthma, a problem with breathing, and every option needs a quick decision, no time to think. The ambulance drove fast. The blue lights flashed between the houses. Inside the car, we were already preparing oxygen, medical bags, and everything needed. When we arrived at the building, a children's medical team and the children's emergency team arrived at the same time. In the end, 6 medical workers, like a little army of smokes, ran into the building with bags, oxygen, tanks, and very serious faces. The elevator was, of course, busy, so we ran upstairs. 4th floor. The mother was waiting for us, very scared. Faster, faster. He is having trouble breathing. We entered the apartment. The child was sitting on a potty in the hallway. He looked at us calmly. My mother almost panicked and pointed at him. I don't like the way he's breathing. What do you mean? It's hard for him. Where is hard? On the potty. And then came the special medical science, when 6 medical workers looked at the child, and the child looked back at 6 adults who has rushed with oxygen and emergency equipment. A couple of minutes passed. Suddenly, the boy made a loud fart. After that, he started laughing, jumped up from a potty, and ran to his mother as fast as if nobody had been worried about him a second ago. His breathing was normal. The child was active, smiling and running around the room. We looked at each other silently. The children's medical team stayed to finish the paperwork and explain to the mother that something children breathe strangely while sitting on the potty in just could be gas moving around, and something would simply need to help to let it out. It is okay. At least nothing bad happened to children, to child, to this kiddo. How I almost ended up in a mental hospital because of a chandelier. It is all starting when we moved into a new house after renovation. Everything was new, clean and beautiful. Nothing seems like trouble was coming. But one morning, in the bedroom, right under the ceiling, something started making a scratching sound. I was like, birds, and the birds were probably like, this guy is crazy. Right, I took the ladder, climbed it up, unscrewed the chandelier, and put my hand under the stretch ceiling. Nothing, absolutely nothing, except a plastic tube and the wire sticking out of it. Okay, I scared it away, I thought, and the birds were like, fuck you. A few days passed, the scratch didn't disappear, it got even louder, and the wheels think it's only happening in the morning, until lunchtime. Definitely birds, I thought. Definitely an idiom, the birds probably thought. Fine, I opened the stretch ceiling in the next room. I made a hole with an angle grinder, with help from my friend from Tajikistan. Great guy, by the way. He climbed it into the attic. Nothing. Mouse, I thought. This guy is annoyed as hell, the mouse probably thought. With a very smart look on my face, I set up on a trap. Bacon, cheese, sausages, basically a mouse party. I waited, but the scratching was still there. And every time I had a handover, it was especially clear. Bastards, I thought. One day, I even climbed into the attic, wearing only my underwear. There was fiberglass insulation. It was hot, not air at all. I was covered in fiberglass, like a drunk hedgehog, and searched everywhere. Nothing. I was in my mind, I thought. But my wife heard it too, so I wasn't crazy, or we both crazy, and was even scarier. More than 3 weeks passed. I was just seriously thinking we had some kind of shared madness, when one night again the scratching said, oh fuck's sake, I hit the chandelier. Silence. Any living thing would have stopped, so it maybe wasn't alive. A fucking ghost? I took the chandelier down. I looked closer. The wire was rubbing against the metal part of the mouth. Aha! Where is it? I put some foam around, put everything back together. Silence. A week later, scratching again. I took the chandelier down again. Look it again. Again. Nothing. Except that fucking wire. I wrapped everything with so much electrical tape that it could be probably survive a nuclear explosion. 2 weeks of silence. I was almost happy. And then, again. At this point, I just got up at 7 a.m., grabbed the ladder, and went to the garage, like it was my job. I didn't remove the chandelier this time, I just moved it a little, and suddenly I understood. The edges of the chandelier were rubbing against the ceiling. Who the fuck knows what? It was making this awful stretching sound, like someone was scratching with a little claw. And that's it. Silence. Completely silence. I sat there thinking. 3 months. Fiberglass. Angel Grinker, my tragic friend, Vratic, and all of this because of a fucking Chandelier. If I didn't found the reason, I honestly have ended up talking myself to a mental hospital. Why am I writing this? It's quiet. I was about 10 years old when my parents sent me to Grandpa's house for a summer. My grandpa had a house, a sauna, a garden, a barn, a chicken, one hour goat with a face of politician, but the most important thing was the attic. For a child in the countryside, and the attic like a Disneyland, only with mouse, pop, old felt boots, or the smell of potatoes. One day, I climbed up there. It was the summer, very hot. Adults were working on the fields. Grandma was somewhere with basket, and Grandpa had gone somewhere. I was alone. Freedom, power, the attic. And in the attic were the bugs. One bug had old clothes, another had grain, another had dried apples. Of course I didn't find dried apples right away. First I crawled around, sneezed, dropping some rusty thing, got scared, and then I saw them. Little sliced, drinking, sweet, smelling of sunshine, dust, and Grandma apple drink. So I started eating them. At first I was polite. One piece, then another, when I was eating with both hands. I was sitting in the attic, like a little rat in the kingdom of food, chewing happily. About 20 minutes later, I had probably eaten half of bag. Naturally, I became extremely thirsty. I went downstairs, found a cup, took water from a bucket, and drank. When I drank more, and that's when the magic started. First my stomach just became hard. It did not hurt, it was just full, like someone had put small balloon inside me. I walked around the room, thinking it would go away. When I lay down, when I sat, when I stood up again. After half an hour, I was walking around in the house, with my stomach sticking like a pregnant senator. When my stomach started to feel alive. It was not normal rumbling. Rumbling is when something human is happening inside. This felt like someone was moving furniture inside me, heavy, wooden furniture, and they were probably angry. I tried to fart. Nothing. Well, not exactly nothing. My body basically said, request received, processing. I tried again, zero result. Only stomach became even bigger. It felt like the apples inside of me had created a union and started making demands. An hour later, Grandma came home. I was lying on my side, holding my stomach and breathing like an old dog. What's wrong with you? She asked. I said I was dying. Grandma was a village woman. She didn't panic easily, but she was careful. She touched my forehead, looked at my tongue, and asked if I had eaten anything. Of course I lied. I said no, because I already understood that a half of bag dried apples was not a snack. It was a serious crime, but my stomach betrayed me. It made a sound like someone here slammed a metal door into a barn. Grandma looked at me. What did you eat? I started crying. After that, everything happened very quickly. They gave me something warm and bitter to drink. It smells like someone had put Grandpa broom into a cup. And then they rubbed my stomach clockwise, the counterclockwise. When Grandpa said you should never rub it counterclockwise, because something bad could happen. I still don't know what he meant, but he sounded very serious. By evening, I looked like a snake that had showered a school globe. Every 10 minutes, Grandma asked, well? And what could I say? Nothing was happening. The door was locked. The guards will not let anyone through. At the same point, Grandpa said, we need to use an enema. From the faces of the adults, I understood what a terrible moment from my childhood was about to happen. Grandma took out a rubber thing from the closet. It was the collar and an old boot. Grandpa calmly said, need a warm water. I decided that maybe death was not the worst option. I wanted to run away, but with a stomach like mine, running was impossible. I reached the hallway, then the porch, then the yard, and then it happened. Not loudly, not beautifully, not like a hero. Something inside me just clicked, and the whole apple factory started working. I sat near the fence, crying from happiness and shame. The chicken looked at me with respect, like I had just laid my first egg. Grandpa came out onto the porch, lit a cigarette, looked at me, and said, well, there you go. And you were afraid of enema. After that, Grandpa complained for a long time that her apples needed to be hidden higher. But higher meant on the attic itself, the same place where I found them. Since that day, I have always been careful with the dried fruit. No, I'm just saying I collected these funny stories and hope you understand what I'm saying, hope you like this, and hope you follow and like the video and share it. Goodbye.